Hey, today I'm going to give you guys my opinion on the government shutdown and why it's very pathetic by both people that it's still going on for so long. But honestly, the more I think about it, it's actually more pathetic by the Democratic Congress because, Trump got elected against all odds, and this was one of his key points. So obviously, a lot of people in this country think of it as a very important issue. Like, it might not be important to some people, but to those who've been directly impacted negatively by illegal immigrants, it's probably a very important issue to certain Americans, many of which Trump represents because they're the ones who voted for him. And when you look at how much money goes through the federal government, it said on a quick Google search that the federal budget is going to be $4.4 trillion, 4.407 trillion to be precise. And Trump's only asking for $5.7 billion. Only $5.7 billion out of $4.4 trillion. I did a quick calculation. That's only 0.13%. So in other words, the Democratic Congress won't allow the government to function because they don't want to build a wall that costs 0.13% of their annual spendings. That's ridiculous. If you go go back throughout history, and you asked any great leader of gigantic countries like China or the Roman Empire or Alexander the Great or any of them, and you said that you could build a wall on one of your two borders. We only have two borders. And Mexico is definitely the more dangerous of the two borders. I could believe it that some criminals would bring illegal drugs, for example, across that border. So, and like I said, a lot of people voted for Trump knowing this was one of his key issues. The Democratic Congress is actually holding the American people that work for the government, the federal employees, hostage just as much as Trump is. And they're doing it over 0.13% of the federal budget. That's bad. And none of the media is actually mentioning it. I actually am not a Trump supporter or a Trump hater, but I'm actually find that admirable of him, that he actually is standing up for what he believes in and what got him elected and what his constituents believe is important. Especially because, like I said, it's only 0.13% of the federal budget for only 1 year. The wall is going to last way longer than 1 year. It's a permanent wall, and you only have to spend 0.13% of the budget to get it. Like, imagine playing Risk or something. Like, imagine if you were the Roman Empire and you could block off the Huns with just 1.13% of your spending. Anyone could see it's a wise way to actually spend the money, even as nothing more than an insurance policy. Now, I do see it as kind of petty of Trump to shut down the government in the first place and to hold it out for potentially years, he said, because of such a small issue. But, he got elected on it, so maybe it's not that small to some people. And it really is a small amount of money, so they should just go ahead and pass the bill that Trump wants for the money, $5.7 billion. It's not really that much comparatively, and it would make a lot of jobs. It would make a lot of jobs that wouldn't be made otherwise, because obviously there wouldn't be a wall being built. So, just because the media, NBC, ABC, CBS, all of them are not mentioning both sides of the story, doesn't mean the other side of the story doesn't exist. And when you actually give it a hard listen or look at the other side of the story, he's not really asking for that much money compared to the total budget of the government. And Congress is kind of being a bunch of dicks by making such a big deal out of it. So that's my 2 cents. Peace.